Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin.
Don't get mad. Get media. MadPod.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Jay Dolly, MadPod.com. And coming up on the next MadPod, how did the Flock of Seagulls get their name?
Mike, it's rumored the band took its name from a line in the song Toiler on the Sea by the Stranglers, which appears on their album Black and White. Fact or fiction?
That's fact. I mean, the Stranglers were my absolute favorite band in that period. We went to see the Stranglers live in Liverpool, and we were right in the front row, and Hugh Cornwell just right in the middle of that song. And when he yells out "a flock of seagulls," he kind of, the music stops, and he pointed right at me and said, "a flock of seagulls." And I looked at Frank and I said, "It's a sign from God. We're changing the name of the band to A Flock of Seagulls."
Dangerous to know. If you're a little crazy, then listen to our show. MadPod, dangerous to hear. If you're a little crazy, then we can bend your ear.
Originally from Liverpool, England, and joining us live coast to coast from Orlando, Florida, vocalist, keyboardist, songwriter, and founding member of the new wave group A Flock of Seagulls, Mike Score. Welcome, Mike. A pleasure speaking with you, my friend.
Hey, Cheddar, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad at all. I'm enjoying life out here. Everything's good with the band, and it's all cream.
You've been in Florida for some time, Mike.
Yeah, I kind of ended up here, traveled around a lot, lived in a few different places, and I kind of like Florida because of the boat situation. I'm into boats and sailing and stuff like that. And the area that I live in is pretty open. There's not a lot of traffic, not a lot of people getting in the way. It's real nice. It gets hot and there's hurricanes, but everywhere's got some problems.
I knew about your penchant for boating. I saw a special on VH1 several years ago. I knew you were near the coast.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, once you've lived on the coast, that's it. You've got to live on the coast from then on.
Everybody says that.
Uh-huh.
Mike, take us back. How did you and your brother, drummer Ollie Score, guitarist Paul Reynolds, and bassist Frank Maudsley get together back in 1980 Liverpool?
It's a typical story. We had nothing really to do. I'd already been in bands. Originally I was a hairdresser, and I did a lot of hair cutting for people in bands and punk styling and stuff like that. And I met a lot of people that were in local bands, and I would go to see them and have a really good time at the gigs. So I decided to join a band, which I did, and that band got signed up, but they didn't want me in the band. So I said, this ain't good enough for me. I went and started my own band with my brother, and Frank was working as a hairdresser too. And we really did it just for fun and to fill in the nights, And we weren't like a lot of other Liverpool bands that we ran out and played there. We just used to rehearse for 7 or 8 hours a night and write songs, and we probably did that every night for about a year. Every night, no breaks. And when we came out of it, we had our own sound and we had our songs, and we went and played a couple of places and just knocked people out, So then we were lucky enough to run into somebody that had links with the record company, and very quickly after that we got a huge record deal. And then basically we came to America with Squeeze, and the whole thing just took off.
Mike, it's rumored the band took its name from a line in the song Toiler on the Sea by the Stranglers, which appears on their album Black and White. Fact or fiction?
That's fact. The Stranglers were my absolute favorite band in that period, and the Black and White album was my favorite album. And we went to see the Stranglers live in Liverpool, and we were right in the front row, and Hugh Cornwell just right in the middle of that song. This was, I think, about 2 days after that album came out. And when he yells out "a flock of seagulls," he kind of, the music stops, and he pointed right at me and said, "a flock of seagulls." And I looked at Frank and I said, "It's a sign from God. We're changing the name of the band to A Flock of Seagulls." And previously we were toying with the name Level 7, but at that time Level 42 had just come out. So, we knew we had to change the name to something. And it was the perfect foil for us, because I was also at the same time reading Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it seemed to me like the whole Seagulls thing was coming right at me.
The Stranglers, it's amazing. You're in good company here, Mike, because we just had J.J. Burnell on with us a couple of months ago.
Oh, great. What an awesome bass player he is. Awesome.
Now, as well known for the bizarrely teased haircuts as the classic hit single Iran, So Far Away, A Flock of Seagulls were one of the truly infamous chart entries of the new wave era. Now, as you mentioned, Mike, you and Frank were former hairdressers. Did the music originally take shape just as a sideline?
Well, like I said, we hung out with a lot of musicians and we did their hair, and we went to see a lot of bands because, we were doing a lot of punk kids that went to certain clubs and they had their bands, and the whole new wave thing was starting up because we weren't really punks. We were a little bit more polished, in our style than that. And but we started to go see bands, and we saw like Simple Minds, and there was only 10 people there, and we saw a band called the Frantic Elevators, which eventually, the singer became Simply Red, Mick Hucknall, and we were seeing some really classy stuff. But we would go upstairs and mess around and try and be in bands and stuff, and it was more like a passion than a sideline. But we didn't really want to go out and play because we'd see these bands that were professional, and we're like, well, we won't be that good for a while. And it was mostly rehearsal, and mostly so we could, go have some fun and get drunk and play. I mean, every time we went to a show, we would go back and rehearse and see if our songs were as good as theirs. And like I say, after about a year, we realized that we were actually a really good band and should put it out there,
True or false, Mike? Your debut album is billed as a, quote, concept album, end quote, about alien abduction.
It's very loosely about that. When I was a kid, I was totally into sci-fi, which I still am, but I have other things as well in my head. But when I was, from, say, 12 till 19, I was just sci-fi crazy. And me and my brother, we were out one night kind of having a few beers when I was about 17, and I thought I saw a flying saucer, and that kind of stimulated Iran and stuff like that. And I think there was a movie out, but I can't remember what it was called. But it was about an alien coming to Earth and some girl falling in love with him. I think it was Starman. And again, all that stuff, it kind of muddled around in my head and influenced a lot of sci-fi stuff. So in a way, it was conceptual, but it wasn't like a story conceptual. I didn't try that until Story of a Young Heart.
Mike is an aerospace engineer and a professor of engineering. I'm certainly a believer.
Right. Oh, it's out there. I mean, definitely. We can't be alone.
That's right. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people in England and Europe, they crossed the Atlantic Ocean hundreds of years ago. They didn't know there were Indians there already, but they were there anyway.
Now, the first song, Iran, describes a person walking down the avenue, seeing an attractive female, and then a myriad of alien influences start. I quote here, "A beam of light comes shining down on you as the aurora borealis comes in view." That was some elaborate writing, Mike. Was UFO the inspiration? Describes a person walking down the avenue, seeing an attractive female, and then a myriad of alien influences start. I quote here, "A beam of light comes shining down on you as the aurora borealis comes in view," end quote. That was some elaborate writing, Mike. Were aliens the true inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was I was putting myself in the position of meeting an alien, and, usually aliens are monsters or something like that in movies, and I wanted it to be completely different. The aliens were, like, beautiful, just so that you'd be totally taken by them. And then I read a lot of stuff about alien abductions and stuff like that. And I wanted aliens to be beautiful and friendly, so that you'd fall in love with them. I mean, I can't see them coming to Earth and scaring the hell out of us, but I can see them coming to Earth and at least making themselves presentable, because they're going to be so far ahead of us that we will be like children to them, and they'll just take us away and teach us things,
Mike, A Flock of Seagulls benefited considerably from MTV's heavy rotation of the Iran video during the summer of 1982, after releasing its debut EP on Cocteau Records early in 1981. And while that record failed to chart,